Welcome back. In my previous video, I was talking about the virtual extents and the physical extents. Let me show you the same thing from the ASM metadata by connecting to the database. So to do that, let me start by creating a small data file. From the current screen, you can see that I have 4 data files which are already existing as part of my database. Now I'm going to create a new table space with a small data file. Let me do that first. Here I have created a table space test with a size of 10 MB and the data file goes into testdg. Let me first see the redundancy type of this disk group. To do that, let me connect to the ASM instance. From the output, here we can see that testdg is of type high redundancy with 3 failure groups, and the size of allocation unit is 1048576 bytes, which is nothing but 1 MB. Let me connect back to the database and see the ASM file number given for the newly created data file. Let me run this query to see the data files in the database. So this is the new data file that got created as part of the test table space. The 257 is the ASM file number given for this data file. Let's run a query to see the size of this data file. From this output of the query, we can see the size of this data file is 10 MB. Now let's see how many allocation units this data file has occupied on this disk group. Let me run another query here. As I said, the ASM file number given for this data file is 257. Let me update this query with the 257. And the group number is 3. From this output, the testdg has the group number 3. The output of this query shows that file number 257 has total 10 allocation units, but it has occupied 33 allocation units on testdg disk group. As this disk group is high redundancy, for every allocation unit it has 2 copies maintained on the next available disk. So for 10 allocation units, we should be having 30 allocation units created for this data file. And the extra 3 allocation units is occupied by the data file header. Let's try to see the virtual extents and the physical extents of this data file. Let me run another query. To do this, I'll have to connect to the ASM instance. From this output, we can clearly see that every virtual extent has 3 physical extents. So for 10 MB data file, we have 10 virtual extents got created, and each virtual extents has 3 physical extents. The virtual extent 0 has 3 physical extents from 0 to 0, 1 and 2 on the disks 0, 1 and 2. So every extent is placed on a different disk. So all these 3 physical extents 0, 1, 2 are placed in 3 different disks. And all these 3 physical extents are part of one virtual extent. And we can also see the allocation unit of this virtual extents. From the output, we can see total 33 extents, 33 allocation units that got created for a file of size 10 MB. From this output, we can clearly understand that every virtual extent has physical extents, and each physical extent lies on different disks that are part of the disk group, and each extent has the allocation unit number. As we know that for the first 20,000 extents of a data file, the extent size is equal to the allocation unit size. So our data file size is just 10 MB. It means it should be having only 10 allocation units, which is less than 20,000 extents. So in this case, the extent size is equal to the allocation unit size. And hence we can see that one extent for every allocation unit. Thank you.